Alrighty guys, I'm tired, I'm done, it was a job. Alright guys, welcome back to my silly channel. I am filming this after I am done with the entire video, except for editing. This part is to tell you what is going to happen in this video. I pulled the evap core, which is same thing as the heater core, in the same place in the top of the dash of the 86 Mustang, or it's behind the dash. If you've got a bunch of money and you want to pay somebody else to do it, I don't blame you. I honestly think this is more aggravating than doing the convertible top. I've done the top twice, once when it was cut off, once whenever it rotted from sitting up for so long. This right here was just as aggravating to me. Now that I know how to do it, it's probably not. About 6 hours involved in this, so we're going to watch the video starting now. If you want to know how to do a heater core and evap core 86 and under, not 87 and up, the dashes are different. This is how you do 86 and under 4-eyed cars. Let the video begin. If you have never pulled the dash to do a heater core, it's fun. No, it's not. That's kind of a rite of passage. If you own a Foxbody, sooner or later that heater core is going to go. I did the heater core back in the mid-90s. I remember it started leaking. Started seeing antifreeze in my floorboard passenger side, so I did it then. And I had to do it in 2015, 16, whenever I got the car back running again. It had sit for so long that the heater core had started leaking again. It probably just rusted, corroded, whatever. So I had to do it then. So I've done it twice, pulled the dash out. I'm going to show you guys where the stuff is to pull the dash. It is not the same as 87 up. Anyway, there's a screw there. You can see I've already pulled it out. It's laying there in the foot. There's a screw right there. There's 1, 2, 3 over there. That's going to pop the dash pad loose, and then we get into working. I think I have to drop my steering wheel. You don't have to pull the dash completely out to do this. You can swing it around, or at least I've been able to. Okay, I got my screws out, the dash bezel and the 2 for there. That is loose. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull this bad boy right here out, the bezel. Get that out of my way first. Probably a good idea to tilt your wheel downward and get it down as low as possible. Okay, dash pad is removed. Now I'm going to do 7/16 bolt right here. Might not even do the other side one, but I pulled the kick panel off. There's a little push trim piece that goes back there, and it just snaps out right there and there, no biggie. But that's a 7mm. There's a couple of those up top to help move that. I pulled the bolt at the bottom, so I mean I'm not far from having the whole thing loose. Alrighty guys, there's a screw here. Should have been a screw there. I'm above the steering wheel, you can see. There was one there. Should have been one there. It's a little dark, but it's pulling good, and I've already done that one over there, and the whole thing is about to come out. I about got it loose. I'm probably going to drop the steering wheel. There's 2 bolts. I'll get those for you. Show you where they are. You got 2 for the hood latch, and that actually helps hold on the steering wheel. That way the steering wheel will drop, which means I'm going to have to take the 4 screws out of this cover here. I'll take those out, drop the steering wheel so I can swing that thing around a little bit further and get to the evaporator core, and that's where I'm going to have to stay until I get the parts in. So that's it. There's a bolt. See that bolt right there beside that red wire? That is got to pop that one there loose, and that's going to get in the middle where it'll swing around. And then there's one right up under there that's kind of hard to get to. I'll pop that one loose, and that should be it. The whole dash, as you can see, is basically, I'm just going to pop these last 2 bolts there, that one right there. Pop those nuts off of those threaded rods, and that will lower the steering column down. Alright guys, I don't know if you see what I did there, but I lowered that steering wheel, and that's giving me enough room I can kind of move my dash here. Let's get our eyeballs in here and see what we got. The heater core is the furthest thing over there. You do have a couple bolts you got to get to right here. I've already loosened this one. It goes right there. There's something else I just thought of. I need to take the 2 screws up under here. There's one there and one there, and take the I can take my glove box off. Then I can get in there and see a little bit better too. See what I got going on. Yeah, I pulled that out. It's actually 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. That pulls your glove box off, and then you can move this entire thing. You can see. Now I can go right through here with light and see what I got going on back there. Alright, as best as my memory serves me, that's the screw, bolt, nut, and that one there with the big nut. You can see those 2. Alright guys, I'm up under the hood still. Show you what, this one, I just took a big adjustable wrench on that nut there that was going into the top line, going into the condenser. Or not the condenser, the evaporator. The bottom one, this is a 19. It holds on to the nut back there, and then I'm using an adjustable wrench on that one right there, which appears to be a 20 or probably a 13, 16, something like that, and I can't find a wrench for it. So I'm just using an adjustable wrench to get that off. Those 2 will be loose and should be able to get it out from behind the dash. Alright, I'm up under the dash again. And a lot has happened since I was under the hood. But found out there was one screw, a 5/16 screw, that was, see if I can get you that hole right there. That hole right there that I'm zoomed in on is that one. Had to take that loose, and I had to take two of those off under here, and then I basically pulled this entire box sideways, and you can see, but that is the blower box for fresh air. This door here opens up by vacuum, pulls fresh air in and blows it across there. I can see there's the evap core, which could be okay. I don't know where I lost all the air from, but I figure I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at it. I know the heater core's in there right beside it. Get my light in there so you can see what's going on. I have the entire box loose, except I'm gonna have to pull the heater hose lines. That's the only thing holding me. Heater hose lines up under the hood. The entire box is loose. There was a bolt somewhere. There's a really long one, hard to get to, right in there. You can see that hole back there. There was a bolt there, and there was a bolt at the top, right there on that little rusted bracket. Those two hold this entire box that has your heater core and your evap core in it. Alright, I loosened the heater hoses outside at the firewall. You got to unplug the big plug that probably runs numerous controls in there, including fan speeds or whatever, and probably that wire that closes and opens the hot cold door. So I'm gonna just unplug that, undo that, and this thing should come right out. Alright guys, here is the box. I have it was a nightmare trying to pull that. There are two vacuum lines hooked to it, and there is also another black vacuum line that runs right here. You can see this is the round part. It went through there and ran out the firewall into the engine bay. So you gotta remember that. I don't know what it was hooked to. I didn't even look whenever I pulled that out. I thought I had everything unhooked, but that came out. This one here has red on it that hooks onto the forward side of that little vacuum pump thingy. And here's the other one is black with blue. It is on the back side. So I'm gonna pop those two loose, and I remember where they went. I marked it and I took a picture and I'm videoing, so I'm gonna pull this out, and the box is completely unhooked. Let's get a good look at it from the outside. And it did get a little bit of heater core gunk. I'm gonna clean that up. Right there is your entire box. You actually can get to the heater core one from the top without having to pull this out. I remember doing that now. It looks like I left a screw out last time. But if you see, you can pull the heater core by taking 1, 2, 3, 4. Take this here cover off, and we'll look at the heater core, but it was not leaking because I've been driving the car and I haven't lost any fluid, so we know I'm not losing coolant. But probably gonna have to take it off, it looks like, to get this out. Let's pop it apart, get that out and take a look at it. Like I said, I don't even think it's bad, but I wanted to replace it just because I'm trying to get the AC all going, and that'll eliminate that as an issue.
And I have this.
Like I say, yeah, you can get to the heater core by pulling 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Pulling those up, that gets you to that. So you can just pull the dash, pull your dash around, pop that up, and get in there from the top. Heater core looks good. Like I say, I think I put this in 2015 because where it sit for so long, it had actually rusted the other one. It looks great. We're gonna gently sit that down. All right, here's what I do know. It is a factory welded plastic seam. Runs right there, down, back up, all the way around the entire box. It's right there and there. All right, here's what I have decided. I'm taking the new one and I'm looking. I see these, see that factory double lip. This factory double lip right here. If I cut along the outsides of that, possibly with a Dremel tool and a disc, which I don't have at the moment. If I cut out right there, this whole thing will lift straight up. I'll be away from any kind of leach for condensation and all, and that's gonna be the easiest way to get it out. It's like they made that whole thing to kind of show you that's what you're gonna have to do. So that's where I'm gonna go. All right, guys, what I'm doing, my Dremel tool's down, so I'm just using the old broken drill bit I got and going sideways, and I'm just running it right in that groove. There's a double groove there. Basically a Dremel tool, just a big one. Good thing about that double groove is it's keeping it lined up. Alright, so what I did is I took basically like a Dremel tool and went in between those two grooves, and then I took a knife and ran down the backside and made a lid, and we're going to caulk that lid back on once we get this out. Like I say, I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but peace of mind. There's a little pit there I don't like. That looks like that's going to be the easiest way to do it, fellas, is to just cut the top off and come up. That way your condensation's all going to drip down anyway, so you're no harm, no foul here. We're going to get some sandpaper, clean this and this up, and then just glue, caulk it right back down on top once we get to do. Alright, I cleaned up all the burrs and stuff off of that, and the lid. There's the lid. We kind of cleaned up the edges on the lid. I'm just gonna go right there. I'm gonna hot glue it in. That's what I'm gonna do. Make me a nice seam of hot glue, just in a couple of corners, and then I'll caulk it that way, because caulk is easier to cut than hot glue is. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do there, and we'll be back in business, ready to put this thing back in. All right, here's where we at now. We slid the evap core down in there. Got the insulation wrapped around it just like it was earlier. I did a nice bead of caulk around the top seam. I actually took some hot glue and just tacked it in, let it dry so it wouldn't move while I tried to caulk it. Heater core is in. There it is. We got both of those sticking out. Now we got to go get this back under there. Remember that our red, which I thought this is pretty cool, check it out. That's the red and black vacuum hose. That is the blue and black vacuum hose. Okay, I have set the box down. There's my seat. Here's the dash. I set the box down. I'm going to swing it under, but I did remember to hook up my red wire vacuum line and blue line. There's a black line right here. Like I say, it goes through a little hole. And then I'm going to get this under there. Then I have to screw on the vent directionals for the foot. There's the foot pieces that go back up under the middle. I think I can probably get them in after I get it completely in. I don't know. I might have to try. We will find out. I'll let you know. Okay, after some finagling and pulling the dash way up out of the way, had my wife holding it up, I reattached the wire for the door to hot and cold. This vacuum line here goes on to the blower motor, which is here, rolled down. It runs a little vacuum cylinder on there for fresh air, non-fresh air. The vacuum hose that ran out the firewall that I was showing you a while ago, let me show you where it goes. Yeah, it come right through the firewall hole, and it hooked into this side of that little vacuum tree there, little vacuum splitter. So that's where that went. I've got to put on that stud there. These guys here hold those on. Then I can tighten up my lines, put the heater core line back on, then begin on my air box. It goes on with that vacuum line hooked to that little purge valve on that side. We got the dash back in. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, if you're watching this far into this video, take your whole dash out, because if you have to take out the box, you got to take out the box with the cores in it, your evaporator core, heater core. Just go ahead and take the whole dash out, because it's so hard sliding everything back up under the dash. If you're doing a heater core, you don't have to take this dash out. You can unbolt it from your steering wheel, take everything loose. You don't have to pull it. You won't have to unhook your speaker wires, HVAC controls, none of that. Just pull it out far enough, and you get to the 4 screws to the heater core from the top. Pull the heater core right over the top of the dash. But if you have to change out the evap core, you're better off pulling dash. I did it without pulling it. I just kicked everything around here about a foot out this way with the dash, but it's so much harder getting it back in. I don't feel like taking all that mess back loose now that I've got it bolted, because I've got it bolted on the other side of the radio. That whole half the dash over there is done. I just got it where it's just a little bit flimsy so I can slide the fan box back in. I'm not going to show you how to put all this back together. Once you took it apart, keep up with your bolts where they went, and you'll figure out how to put it back together. And yeah, pull your dash. It'll save you a bunch of aggravation, I promise. Alrighty guys, I'm tired, I'm done. It was a job. 6 hours, probably 6 or 7, but now usually I lose probably an hour by moving the camera, talking, blah blah blah. There's so much stuff you don't see that I actually talk and I cut out, edit out. Here's the advice if it don't make any other part of the video. All I got to do is clean up. The dash is completely back in the car. Everything is working. All the vent speeds are working, everything. If you have to do a heater core on the 86 and under, the 4-eyed cars, they're not that bad. Pull that dash around probably about a foot. You can get it about 8 inches or so by taking the bolts loose on the steering column and swing it around, and it's right there. If you have to do the AC core, the evaporator core, go ahead and take the whole dash out. Don't even bother. I tried not to, and I didn't. I didn't pull it out, but you have to pull the box out in 2 parts, and I should have, because it's a whole lot easier to get all the bolts. Putting it back together is just as much fun. So I'm tired, I'm done, I'm out of here. I appreciate it. If you watched this long, you have seen a mess. I know it's absolute not a chore. It's not a chore doing that evap core. I'd much rather do heater core. I could do 3 of them heater cores a day. Evap core, no, not so much. Anyway, I appreciate everybody who watches my channel and puts up with my mess. God bless you all. Mustang week is coming. Woo! Peace.